Leory Chiao is a former NASA astronaut and an International Space Station commander. He spoke to me about the role private companies are playing in the space industry.
When SpaceX was started, there were a lot of skeptics. And I have to admit, in the very beginning, I was a little skeptical too about this tech entrepreneur saying he's going to build his own rocket engines and his own rockets and his own spacecraft. But by golly, he's done it. And he also said he's going to make parts of it reusable. We've seen him fly back for first stage boosters many times now. These are all things that the incumbents in the United States and United Launch Alliance, joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin, said couldn't be done. And they're doing it. And so they have cut the price dramatically for launching U.S. satellites. And so they have forced the incumbents. The ULA is now doing work on trying to develop their own low-cost launcher, where just a few years ago they said this kind of thing is not possible. So this is a great example of competition, forcing, an incumbent to be better. And so we'll see how that goes. The commercial side really is interesting because SpaceX, Elon Musk has said he's doing this because he personally wants to go to Mars. He wants to colonize Mars and set up, Earth colonies there. Jeff Bezos wants to build infrastructure in space around the Earth and the Moon. And, he's been self-funding that, out of his own pocket, literally, for about a dozen or so years, ever since Blue Origin came into being. So these guys are going to build up some infrastructure, and that's a game changer.
You grew up in a country where you could dream of going into space. Obviously, young people growing up in China now can have that dream. Russia, the same. But as you know, this has been a pretty exclusive. Now, China has this relationship with the United Nations where they're going to give developing nations a chance to carry out space experiments in space at the space station when it's up and running. As I said, it used to be an exclusive club. China opening it up. Give me your sense of why that's important and how that changes things.
Well, I think all nations' space programs have done similar things. Certainly the Russians, they've flown cosmonauts from different countries and also done cooperative research with different countries. The United States has very much been doing a lot of work with our international partners, with the Europeans, the Japanese, and the Canadians, both in research work and in flying their astronauts. And so this is a natural thing to do. It's a great way to kind of bring other countries into the fold and help them do research work, exciting research work in space, very visible research work, but also it's used as a way to kind of, cement those ties too, the international ties that go beyond space exploration. The space programs have always been kind of used, and not in a bad way, as a way to project soft power and have influence. And so, the reason that a nation gets into the space business is primarily for that. For having that soft, projecting that soft power, national prestige, and also for inspiring the next generation of young people. I think those are all very important missions.
So the far side of the moon project, no country's done this so far. It's groundbreaking. Some analysts say there's going to be a huge payoff scientifically. What is that payoff, do you think?
Well, we won't know till we go, but it's going to be very interesting because the far side of the moon, the composition, the chemical composition of the rocks and all that might be similar, probably were similar, but it's going to be under different conditions. For example, because the side of the moon that faces the Earth, as it orbits, the Earth is going to shield it to a large degree from potential impacts of meteoroids and asteroids and things like that. And so the far side, you might see a lot more impact action from these different things. And so you could have different minerals that are deposited by these impacts. You could have different geological formations. It's going to be interesting to see some of the detailed data that will come back from that exploration.